So, Paul, good morning. It's such a pleasure to be sitting with you. I have observed you on LinkedIn are doing some amazing things. You are planning some powerful stuff for the communities that you serve. You are planning a beautiful retreat down to Zanzibar. I am curious, as a delegate that will be joining you on this journey, what is this all about?
The Zanzibar experience, which is what I've called it, is essentially let's use the word retreat, is to step out, step back, not surrender, but to step back, regather, re-equip, re-energize, so that when we come back into our normal day-to-day life, we are a little more resilient, a little more energized, more in integrity with our values and our meaning and what's really important to us. Put some distance between yourself and the reality, the expectations of the world around us and the people around us, and really just to focus on alignment again with who we are and who we'd like to be.
I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek, and he had written that book with Start With Why, and he speaks about the why principle. And so I am going to extend the question to you to say, why this retreat, Paul? Why do you want to take a group of people along for this that you are planning?
In my professional life, I'm a coach, and I work with a lot of people essentially who feel that they started the year with great intentions of being in integrity with what's important to them. So aligning their behavior, their daily routines, the way in which they invest their energy with what fills their heart. And a lot of the people that I'm working with at the moment, a lot of my clients are expressing the fact that they feel that they're out of integrity with that. Because we get pulled in all sorts of directions by our family, by our work, by whatever it might be, all the stresses and strains and the expectations surrounding those, we can get ourselves into a situation where we are feeling fatigued, distressed, tired, lacking some of the resources that we feel we should have, because the way we are filling our day is out of alignment with what fills our heart. So this opportunity is to step back and out of that and regather. So the words that I'm using are realign, reset, and recommit to what is meaningful, what is valuable, and what builds your energy and your resilience.
That sounds so beautiful. There's so much happening, I think, at the moment in our external worlds. If I look at what is happening in the political landscape, which obviously affects business landscape, organizational landscapes, and obviously, at the end of the day, affects people's pockets, their well-being, their families, and all those kind of things. And I think we started off the year with great intentions, isn't it? This is the year, it's 2020, thrive, and we are going to be having and experiencing a transformative life. And so the intention of each individual, I think, and I've spoken to a lot of people, has been to say that this is the year that things are going to take place. And then all of a sudden, life happened, political landscape, once again, as mentioned, what's happening in organizations, et cetera, and it has an impact on all of us. And I think what you're doing here is saying, guys, don't lose sight of your intention, right? But let's go and check your intention to make sure that it is still in alignment with where you are going and your integrity. And where there is a need, let's recreate, rebuild, and replan whatever 2025 and the future holds in for you. Does that sound about purposeful for you in that regard?
Yeah, it's spot on. If I just speak for myself, for so many years, I would get to the end of a period, a performance period or a year or whatever, feel exhausted and go, but how much closer am I? Like, I've invested so much energy physical, mental, emotional energy, I feel depleted, I feel exhausted, but I feel I'm nowhere closer to my desire or my ambition or a goal that I wanted to achieve for myself when I started this journey. And I think that's because for a lot of my life, and this is what I'm extending to a lot of the people that might want to join us in Zanzibar, is that I was not conscious of staying in integrity. So I would start my year consciously, and then I would become more and more unconscious and operate on autopilot, kind of at the mercy of the forces pulling me all over the place, and investing my energy in all of those things, and not in myself and my purpose and my sense of meaning.
Why Zanzibar?
Okay, so why Zanzibar? So first of all, it's June, right? And in South Africa, it's miserable, particularly if you live in the Western Cape. So there's a little bit of a selfish agenda here. I want to get into the sun. Jambiani, the village in Zanzibar, is on a stretch of 6 kilometers of beautiful white beach with palm trees and a gentle ocean, and it's warm. And Zanzibar is an assault on the senses. It is, and I'm encouraging people that come with me to Zanzibar to come back to their senses. You know, that phrase, come back to your senses, it brings us into the present, because our senses are a connection, a mindful connection to the present moment. And Zanzibar is a perfect place to do that, because there's the sun on our skin, there's beautiful food, there's wonderful, gentle, traditional music. There's being in the ocean, but it's far. I have this thing that when I get on an airplane, right, and I look out the window and I take off and I'm in the sky, I'm committed to going somewhere. It's a journey, and I'm putting not only kind of metaphorical distance, but I'm putting some real distance between me and some of what is challenging me. And I think that does help me to commit really to what I'm going to do when I get there.
That makes beautiful sense to the senses. As you were speaking, I've got an analogy in mind, and that is that sometimes, for something to work better, it needs to be unplugged. We were just speaking before we started about technology. And coming from an IT field myself, one of the first things we used to tell users is that you've got to unplug, Control Alt Delete, just unplug. And I kind of like that we get the opportunity to unplug from where I find myself, give it 10 seconds, in this case, a couple of days, and then come back and re-plug in order for life to work out for you. And so I kind of like, and being a fan of Zanzibar, the people are just amazing, and they are so friendly, and we need to go where people are friendly. We need to go and also experience other cultures. So I like the fact that it is all the way out in Zanzibar. So the dates that you have earmarked is the 6th to the 10th of June, right?
Yes, yes.
Tell me a little bit about what your expectation is, and also what the delegates could expect around what they would experience on those days, but what you expect of the delegates. When must they arrive? When can they leave? And what a typical day would look like.
The actual coaching days are from the 6th to the 10th, including the 6th and the 10th. It would be great if whoever is joining us could arrive on the 5th, and we meet later on the afternoon or in the early evening on the 5th for a meet and greet, get to know our fellow travelers. And we start at 8 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock in the morning on each of the 5 days. There's only 3 hours per day of formal coaching guidance, and the rest of the day is kind of invested as you would like to invest it. I imagine I certainly will be doing a lot of reflection and a lot of self-work based on what we covered during that particular morning. And I have a program for the rest of the day that I'm going to be following. I'm going to be going on a few outings. I'm definitely going to be taking in the sunrises and the sunsets, going into the forest, going onto a boat. And if you're here with me in Zanzibar, you're very welcome to join me, or you're very welcome to do your own thing. The intention, Ed, is for this experience not to feel forced, not to feel jam-packed with compulsory activities. That's not what it's about. It's about a very gentle turning towards the preference of who I am and reflecting on how better to regain integrity with that, and to let the access, the easy, gentle access into my own inner well of wisdom and intuition come to me while I'm enjoying that experience, as opposed to trying to force it out.
I think what you are creating here is a beautiful community of togetherness that unplugs, learn from one another, and replugs. I like the fact that it's not a workshop, but a retreat. It's not a, you're going to sit from this time to this time, listen to lectures, etc. It is an explorative process amongst ourselves, with you as a guide, a facilitator, and as a master coach as well.
We learn from neuroscientists, psychologists, psychiatrists, sociologists, anthropologists about the value of community, and that even on a neurotransmitter level, is that we are engineered for being in community. And our modern day, kind of lifestyle very often pulls us out of community, and we often feel that we're fighting this fight alone. We're traveling this road alone. And the intention with coming to Zanzibar is to connect with other people, like-minded people, who are wanting to stay resilient, who are wanting to remain in alignment with their values and their purpose and their reason for being, and are wanting to build that vitality. So that sharing of that common reason for being there, and then of course the reflection that is going to take place when you're going for long walks on the beach, or sitting drinking a cocktail on the beach and chatting, like, what has your experience been, and how has this been for you, and let me tell you my story, and maybe even, what input have you got for me? Dialogue. Healing happens in dialogue. Healing happens when we listen and we share, without any forced intention, but simply the presence of being with a like-minded community wanting to achieve similar things.
I had a vision the one morning most recently, and that was the following. None of us on this planet, me included, none of us have ever lived this moment. How are we supposed to live this moment if we don't know how? We've got the tools from yesterday, but we don't know if those tools from yesterday are still going to work today or tomorrow. And I think having then that community, togetherness with other people to say, I'm with you. We've not lived this moment, but how can we live it together so that it makes sense to us, is very, very powerful. Yeah.
When we heal, it doesn't necessarily mean we're healing because we're broken. That's not the message. The message is, the intention is that we're healing because we compromised. And, we are, whether we like it or not, we are neurobiological, chemical, electrical machines. And any machine that performs at a fast pace without slowing down for preventative maintenance starts to be compromised and starts to break down, and the cracks start to show. And in human beings, in this biological machine, the cracks start to present themselves in distress and eventually disease and eventually break down. So the Zanzibar is a bit like a pit stop for a biological racing car. We've been running hot, we've been running fast, we've been racing. It's time to stop, and it's time to heal and regenerate and realign and recoup and refocus and recommit and come back.
Who's this retreat open to, Paul?
Okay, so it is open to anyone who resonates with the intention, right? A lot of the a lot of the clients that I work with, Ed, in a coaching environment are traditionally people who have struggled with anxiety and various levels of depression in the past, and they have recurrent episodes, whether they've been on psychiatric medication or classic psychotherapy rounds or not. So a lot of the people I work with are conscious of the fact that nothing changes until something changes. So they like to engineer moments in their lives where they regather and recover and refocus. So there's that group. But there's also the group of people who are simply conscious of the fact that unless you take a break before you have to, it's probably too late. And they know that. So,
yeah.
It's open to busy corporates and executives. It really is open to anyone who resonates with the need to step out, step back, recoup, recover, refocus, realign, and come back into our normal daily lives with a greater sense of vitality and resilience.
Yeah, I like that. So it doesn't matter who you are, whether you are a corporate, whether you are an executive, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a home executive, whether you are a very busy mom that also needs to unplug and realign yourself. It is open literally to anybody. And then also, it's not just open to people from one country. You don't have to be in Tanzania or in Zanzibar. No. You can come from any place in the world.
So your financial investment in this experience is 6,000 Rand per individual for the 5 days of the coaching experience. Okay, that's for my guidance. That's for my facilitation of the coaching experience. The rest, in terms of flights and accommodation, I've left it up to the individual to organize for themselves based on their preference and their budget. So if you want to stay in a 5-star resort close to Jambiani, that's going to cost 2,000 Rand a night. That's completely up to you. Or if you choose to stay in a little more of a rustic accommodation in Jambiani village, it can be, as cost effective as 500 or 600 Rand a night. That's also up to you. If you choose to fly Kenya Airways, or if you choose to fly Qatar or whatever, go up and down, that's completely up to you. So you manage that part of your investment as you like. And as we say, we'll drop you a pin, tell you where you need to be at 8 o'clock on the morning of the 6th, as long as it is close to Jambiani or in Jambiani village. Preference is that you find your accommodation there, which is on the southeastern coast of the island. Everything is close. We'll drop you a pin, see you there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we'll take it from there. If you go to my website, which is Good Day Coach, GOODDAYCOACH, gooddaycoach.com, and we'll share the link on screen as well. There's a click through to the Zanzibar experience, and you can read about the experience, what we'll be covering each day, and what a possible program might look for you for the day. So you can go there, and you can also click on About Me on my website. I've also included a link to, it's a 10-minute video of me with some iPhone pictures, just telling you a little bit more about me. I think it's important that you, if you come on this experience, know a little bit more about my history, a little bit more about my story, so you can gauge my own level of authenticity and connectedness with this process and with this need. So you can go through and you can spend a little bit of time watching and listening to me tell you a little bit more about me.
You're going to be there in any case. But I think what is very important is that people, for things like this, there is a need for a commitment, not commitment to you, but a commitment to the self. What could people do to commit to themselves, to come to this experience, and for you to also then know, as a result of that commitment, how many people you could expect?
I'm anticipating that we're going to have about 10 people. You know, if it's 11 or it's 9 or whatever. In fact, if there's one other person that comes along, I'll be there at 8 o'clock waiting for you. Because as you mentioned, Ed, I'm going anyway. I need to do this for me. I'm going on my own retreat, but I would just love a whole lot of people to come and join me on the journey as well, in the experience as well. So I'm going to be there, and I'm anticipating that another 10 people might join. I'll tell you what I'd like to do is I'd like to keep it not much bigger than 10, Ed, because it's quite an intimate group. There's lots of opportunity for building relationships and touch points and connection. But, you know, if it's 1 over or 2 over, then that doesn't really matter. So how do you commit? First of all, make a decision. Nothing changes until something changes. And often we feel guilty when we do things for ourselves, because the expectation has always been that we are helping and assisting other people. And my appeal to you is that you just make an internal decision, perhaps this year, mid-year, to do something. Give yourself this gift of building some vitality and resilience and well-being and stepping out and recouping. So make a personal commitment. How do you bring that commitment to fruition? Is book the flight. Reach out to me either on my WhatsApp or my phone or my email, or there's a contact form on my website as well. Send me a message and say, listen, Paul, I'm in, let's go. And then we'll start chatting. And we'll start to put together a little bit of a WhatsApp group. And then something else I wanted to mention, Ed, is that I'm making the opportunity available for everyone who attends to join after the Zanzibar experience, completely voluntarily, if you want to, if you see value, in a once a week kind of 45-minute Zoom link touch base. How are you doing now that you got back? Are you still in alignment? Are there some challenges you're experiencing? And we can, as a community, continue to support each other because we shared the same space. We shared the same energy. We shared the same purpose of being in Zanzibar. And I think it would be great if we can support each other in that way when we get back.
When we share the same space, we share the same heart energy. And I think it's important to continue that heart energy and that afterwards. So it's not just here's a experience and you're going to feel good like you've been on holiday and now you're ready for phase 2 of the year. This is an ongoing heart space connect with those people that have shared their experience with you. I love that. It's not just a here you go and now you're on your own. That's beautiful. Well done.
Yeah.
Good.